Hello, it's been a while. It's been a while because we got so many things to do, and it's actually been perhaps more than a week since I've done a live. But I wanted to come on and talk about the things that we're recording today. Wow, so cool! I can speak a little bit of Russian. I've lived in Russia long enough to where I think I should already be speaking. Well, I can speak enough to get me through my life here. But I was saying I haven't done a live in a long time, so I wanted to hop on and tell you what we're doing today. What my wife and I are going to be recording today is like what you can find in a Russian town. I don't know how many other YouTube channels are living in small towns like the ones I am in. I think we have about 15,000 people. 15,000 people is quite a few people compared to where I think other YouTubers are recording from. And I don't know if people really understand if they plan to move to Russia, this is definitely an option for them, is moving to a place like mine. And there's so many towns in Russia that are my town size, right? So I wanted to make a video about that today, and I'm gonna be making a video about that today. My wife Ksenia and I, we're gonna be showing people what you can do in a small town like this. I haven't been fishing. To be honest, what I've been doing the most is working on the garden, um, picking up a little bit around the plot, but it's just trying my best to have my wife happy. Um, she's less than 2 months away, hopefully, from having this child. So I haven't really been fishing a lot. Now today I will be going swimming to Lake Baikal. Um, the weather, if it's good today, if it's proper, I'll be going fishing. But like I said, today in today's video, when I go recording, I'm going to be showing people what to expect in a small town because I feel like a lot of the people that come to Russia, if they want to save their money, it doesn't make sense to move to Moscow or St. Petersburg. These cities are sometimes more expensive than major cities in the United States. How to make money, and well, you can start a business, you can teach English if you're fluent in English. There's all sorts of stuff. Silo, by the way, man, I hope you enjoyed your time in Russia. I know you said you just got back, right, from you just got back to the United States, California from Russia. I hope you had a good time, all right? Perm, hello, bro. Привет. And I think one of the, I should speak about a little bit about what I'm going to show in the video today that we're recording. I feel like people are scared of living in small towns because they don't know that we actually have the stores like grocery stores, kindergartens for the kids, um, like utility stores, right? To places where you buy things to build, also electronic stores, high schools, higher level education, well, high school. Um, there's a lot of places where you can have activities outside. Sorry, I ate freaking a cookie with coconut. So yeah, I think the majority of the people who watch videos from Russia are watching from content creators that are in massive cities, more than 100,000. Russian cities with more than 100,000 people obviously have everything, and you could expect them to have everything. So you shouldn't even be questioning if you could survive in Russia in these towns, or these cities rather. Do I miss Walmart and Target? No, not really. There's nothing. I mean, I never shopped in Target and I never shopped in Walmart when I lived in the United States, anyways. One thing that you will encounter when you live in a small town is you're going to have to go to multiple stores. That I do in Russia. I go to multiple stores because one store doesn't have everything that I need. So you just have to go to a different store sometimes. But that's not a problem. Yeah, we do have the equivalent, but not every city and not every town has the equivalent of a giant supermarket. So when foreigners come to Russia, usually they go to St. Petersburg or Moscow or cities with over 100,000 people, and it is what it is. Yeah, sorry, man. The vertical is, I understand how it is. I don't expect it to be comfortable, but in about 10 hours, there's going to be a full-length video, which is going to be horizontal and it's going to be on the channel. Marlon says he finds out next week if he's going to have a job in Moscow. Actually, I'm going to be working on a video on how to get a job in Russia. There's going to be some sort of guy whose job it is to help foreigners, immigrants in Russia find jobs. So, Marlon, keep in touch with the channel. I'll be making a video about that. If my channel gets deleted like the Real Reporter, I just won't make any more content. I didn't start making YouTube videos for to be an influencer. Like I don't do that. So if I get deleted, it is what it is. I don't think I have the energy once my son is born. Remember, my son is going to be born in October. So I don't if it gets deleted, it is what it is. There's different ways to get a job in Russia. You don't just use the TRP. There's other forms of getting jobs in Russia, the legal way. Alexander, that's going to be my son's name, Alexander. Well, one of his names is going to be Alexander. I like this name. I just don't like that they call people whose name is Alexander Sasha. This is ugly. Sergey says, I think there are similar chains in Russia, like their own versions. But honestly, the places in Russia that have these major stores are going to vary depending on the population for sure. My son will have two names. If everything goes well, my son will have two names, a Spanish name and a Russian name together. We will have two names. I just have to call the Mexican embassy. The Mexican embassy will send a piece of paper saying that my son doesn't need the patronymic name. I don't want my son to be whatever name and Danielovich. I don't believe in this. The Russians can do what they want, but my son will not have this patronymic name because it doesn't make any sense. If he's going to have my last name, then he should just have his own two names. I like this better. I like two names rather than having one name and a patronymic name. This is absolute number one bullshit, in my opinion. The Russian culture is the Russian culture, but I don't like it. I don't like cultures that use patronymic names because it should be if they should give me the option to give my son his mom's name, I rather him be my son have my wife's name than my name. It's just it's stupid. I think one or two countries use the mother's name, which is better because usually the son or daughter will have the male last name. So to honor the wife, it would be better. Я знаю. Меня зовут нет Данил, Данилович. Я знаю, я знаю. Un saludo muy grande para mi amigo Alexander allá en Argentina. Bueno, un saludo muy grande a a todos los países hispanohablantes, que estén bien, especialmente a los de Sudamérica. No he visitado ningún país allá abajo y algún día ojalá pueda visitar Argentina o Perú, Bolivia, cualquier país de allá de Sudamérica. He says, I'm going to the Marines next year. What's your advice to get ready for it? I think my best advice for anybody joining the United States military right now, and especially the United States Marine Corps, is don't don't have any expectations, because when you have expectations, you'll fall on your face. You have to accept whatever's coming. Don't look up how boot camp is like. Don't look at anything. My best advice is get slayed as it comes. Okay, like you have to understand, the Marine Corps is very special. It's not about it's not the army, so you're going to suffer. So you have to accept it and embrace it. We say embrace the suck. I went into the Marine Corps not knowing that there was even a freaking Marine Corps. I was just lucky enough to go to the right door. I wanted to go to fight in Afghanistan, and the other branches told me, hey, look, go to the Marine Corps, they'll get you there faster. Don't look up anything about the Marine Corps, and just stay physically fit. That's it. Stay physically fit and then work on your mind. Hey, Artsy, welcome, my friend. I feel like right now I wouldn't join the United States military. If I had my youth again, I wouldn't join. It's absolute. It's a disaster. It's the Marine Corps. Even the Marine Corps, which used to be S tier for the United States, has moved to C tier. Altai Republic. Hello, my friend. The real Misha. Hello. Dobro pожаловать. Welcome. So yeah, today I'm gonna be making a video. If you don't know, if you're just joining, I'm gonna be recording with my wife. I'm gonna be making a video showing what exists in a Russian town, how we live in a Russian town. It's gonna be a full-length video. It should be published tonight. And the point of this is to show foreigners that the life in a town is much different. I wouldn't advise people to move to small towns, but this video is to show that you can live in a small town. I don't promote Moscow or St. Petersburg or any other place either, but I do promote the idea that there is life in smaller towns. We live differently. We live a life with less luxuries, according to the West. A lot of you guys who are watching from the West may feel that we lack a lot of things here, like things to do to spend your leisure time. This is true, but we do things here differently. We don't have a lot of major cities close by, so we enjoy our time in a different way. And again, we don't have a nightlife here. We don't have a mall here. We don't have like recreational parks. We don't have any of these type of stuff. But with time, you learn to adjust. Okay, so I love the driving my car in the United States. I used to drive my Mustang all the time. I couldn't imagine my life without my Mustang. Back when I lived in Los Angeles, I was like, this is the pinnacle of life. Driving a classic car down Sunset Boulevard, listening to oldies, nothing gets better than this. I wanted to die and get buried in my 1906 Ford Mustang, because for me, that was like my time machine. Now, when I moved to Russia, which was not too long ago, I officially moved to Russia last year. But I had been living in Russia in Irkutsk, which was a bigger city, 500,000 people. I moved from a big city, which is a big city, 500,000 is huge, to a small town of 15,000. I realized that some things that I had in my life, I could replace. Like, for instance, driving in a classic car and listening to oldies, I exchanged that for fishing. The first 2 years that I lived in Russia, I was a very, very big fisherman. So I replaced that type of life, the driving, with fishing. Now, when I lived a little bit longer, I started replacing other things like going out with friends to like theme parks, amusement parks. I replaced that with walks in nature. I understand that a lot of you guys may not like that kind of stuff. I don't like doing that. Like I don't like choosing things and replacing things in my life. That's what I'm trying to say. I didn't look to replace my old life. It just naturally happens. I'm in my late 30s now, guys. I'm gonna be 36 this year. So can the body kind of adjusts. So my body and my soul is just choosing different things. Lots of Americans are ignorant to how we want to live in Russia. I spend most of my times with I take my sons fishing and hunting. Exactly. So Misha is saying, and it's not just Americans. It's 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 people who live in cities. Like I can't imagine someone from Moscow. I have had friends from Moscow and St. Petersburg come to Slyudanka and they say, "Oh, this is crazy. How can you live here?" So some Russians, it's city people. It's people who have been urbanized all their life. So it's not Americans, Misha. It's also people from Moscow. People from Moscow, they don't even know how to dress to go out into the forests. How is the gun ownership situation in Russia? It's the same as in the United States. You have to be a citizen to own a weapon. So yeah, you have to be a citizen of a country to own guns in that country. And that's it, Kevin. Usually, I would say gun laws are easier, like they're more relaxed in Russia than they are in California. Gun laws are better in Russia than many states in the United States, but that's not saying much. Yeah, and like, hey, brother, welcome to the live stream. Sometimes I laugh because I put on my Gorka, I put on my boots and I go into the balota. Yeah, I go into the balota and I see people from the city, from Irkutsk, dressed like weirdos because I'm in my camouflage. I'm ready to go into the balota and balota is the swamp, by the way, guys. No, I'm not a citizen yet. I'm not even a resident yet because I don't, I have to travel, so I can't get my residency yet. How do you get money from the United States through bank transfers? I've already made a video about this. The best way to do it, if you're going to be in Russia for less than a year, is bring cash. If you're going to be in Russia for more than a year, then the legal way to do it is through crypto. You buy USDT and you exchange it in Russia for rubles. This is the only legal way to do it right now. Any Russian citizen can own a weapon. That's right. Obviously, they can own certain weapons, and with time, they can upgrade to more other types of weapons. It takes about 5 years to get through all the weapon systems. Do you have to be a citizen to buy a pneumatic air gun? Depending on the caliber of the gun. Not all pneumatic guns in Russia are the same caliber. The different types of BBs. Kirov. Hello, my friend. I was in Kirov. Uh, wait. What the heck is the name? I think it was Vyatka. Kirov. I like I like the names of cities. Before the Soviets put Kirov on every street and all these things. I think like Vyatka was the name of the city. But yes, I've been to Kirov and I love this city. It's a nice, sleepy city. I will become a citizen maybe in 2 years. The process is slow because I need to get my residency first and I have to leave Russia. So I can't get my residency until I will stay in Russia for a long time. To get my residency, I need to be in Russia for more than 6 months out of the year, and I can't do that yet. My son will be born in Russia, my son will be Russian, but I want my mom to meet my son, so I might have to leave Russia for a few months to go to Mexico. You know how it is. Eventually, I will get my citizenship. It's just a matter of time. Yes, Vyatka, a lot of these cities that I visited about 2 years ago were west of the Urals. The Ural Mountains. After that, there's a lot of cities. But anyways, guys, do you guys have any questions? I haven't done a live in a long time, and I wanted to get on here just to say that I'm gonna be making a video a little bit later. Hopefully, you guys can watch it. Feel free to ask any questions. Hello, welcome. Will your son have a Mexican citizenship? So when my son is born, I will be going to Moscow and he will get his temporary Mexican citizenship. I don't know. I'm gonna be getting his American citizenship maybe later in life, but he doesn't need American citizenship yet. I don't think I'm gonna get him American citizenship anytime soon. Why did I move to Russia? I came here as a tourist. I liked it and I stayed. I didn't move to Russia for any special reason. I don't really care about politics or religious things. I just like Russia because I enjoy it here. How proficient do you need to be in Russian in order to become a citizen? So there's different ways to get Russian citizenship. You don't even need to speak Russian in some instances. In the video, I guess I can show the cost of eggs because I don't know off the top of my head. What do I miss about the United States? I just miss my family. That's it. I miss my family. Do you like akroshka? I mean, I like all food in Russia. It just depends if who's making it. Yes, you can say bad things about Russia while you live in Russia. Listen, it I feel like people who are retarded, like people who are brainwashed, believe that, I mean, why would you want to be in Russia, make videos in Russia, if you only have negative things to say? You know what I'm saying? Why would you live in a place where you don't like? You have to be brain dead. A lot of Russian roads are disgusting. A lot of the kids growing up in Russia speak very badly. They have bad manners. There's a lot of Russian parents who do a bad job raising their kids. Russian people are very rude. They don't know how to drive in small towns. I can say so many bad things about Russia. The government of Russia, I don't know personally, but that's the difference between me and other people. I only talk about the things that I know. I live in a small town. I know that Russian people are very rude. The little kids are being raised by bad parents. The roads in my town are very bad. And I can say all these things because they're true. I'm not going to get in trouble. It is what it is. Hey, ¿qué onda, Ricardo? This is Destilnashka. It's not about what they like. A lot of the guys, the majority of the guys, do their military service in Russia, and this is just the different colors mean different things. There's green, red, black, navy blue, light blue. They all mean different things. You know, George, I don't care about Putin. I don't care about Putin. This is where these type of lives go really funny because the trolls think I know him personally. Again, you have to be dumb to think that someone like me knows the president of the Russian Federation. How could I speak badly about someone I don't know? Hello, yeah, hello, welcome to the live stream. Even if I wanted to, I don't know that guy. And I'm a grown man. I live by my principles. You don't speak about things you don't know. So, Jorge, ¿hablas español? Because I think that your level of, I don't know if you're trying to troll or what, but it makes no sense. That's what I'm trying to explain to you guys. People who say speak bad about Putin, speak bad about Russia. What can I say? Only the things that I know. And I'm the only one who has the balls to say the things like this. I'm the only Mexican for sure in this oblast. I've never met or heard of another Mexican. Yeah, but why would you want to live in a country where you hate it? It's just unbelievable to me. Some people have no brain cells left. Some people can't understand that you shouldn't worry about the things you don't like. If you don't like some place, leave. If you don't like some people, don't be friends with them. But don't live your life where you're just focused on these bad things over and over again. It's really sad. Thank you, BTC. My garden is awesome. I agree. If someone in a country is trying to live, why would you badmouth its leader? It's not even about that. It's having the respect to not talk about people you don't even know. And I don't get worked up, but I use this time to try to educate the people how I think. Um, I don't know President Putin. I don't know President Trump, but President Trump affects me because I'm an American. Okay? That's what it is. I'm an American. I'm not a Russian. I don't care about Russian politics. I don't care about uh I don't care to speak about Russian politics because I am not Russian. These laws, if they bother me too much, I'll leave Russia. Hey, Marlon, thank you so much for the membership donations, by the way. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you very much. Yes, I talked to the real reporter. I'm still in contact with him. But again, George, listen, my advice to you if about Russia is if you ever visit Russia and you don't like it, just never come back. My advice to other Americans or Mexicans is if you come to Russia and you don't like it, leave. We're right now we're just talking about why I don't talk badly about Russia because if I don't like Russia, I'll just leave. If something's bothering me in Russia, I'll just leave. I don't care about Russia. Okay, I don't care about Russia because Russia doesn't care about me. I am nothing yet. You guys have to understand, I live in Russia under a tourist visa. When I become a resident, that's when I start that's when my opinion will change. I'm working with 100% of my brain when I speak. I am just a tourist under a tourist visa in Russia. When I get my residency, when I get my citizenship, I have to start caring about what I say because guess what? My life in Russia will change from tourist to a resident to a citizen. Okay, you have to understand there's levels to this. I'm not doing my residency because I'm gonna be leaving Russia for a couple months, and if I get residency, I'll lose it. So I have to wait until I come back. When I come back from Mexico, I'll be living in Russia for years. I won't leave anymore. That's where I get my residency and my citizenship because I'll have a child born in Russia. My son is gonna be born in about 2 months. Right now, I am better off being a tourist because it's better for me to live in Russia right now under a tourist visa. There, I could live here 6 months out of time, and I don't have to worry about going out and coming back in. Salute, Dan from USNC Miramar Air Base. Are you there right now? No way. If you're out there in Miramar, shout out to all the Air Wing Marines. You guys you guys do more than people know, really. I was in 2011 in Afghanistan, man. A lot of guys go to work there from the air wing, and they keep a lot of air support up there, a lot of medevacs, all those machines that are coming in and out need a crew. So for fixing, for loading all that stuff, maintenance on the freaking on the air wing is hectic, and it's actually very I would say it's one of the more complicated MOSs as far as things that you have to learn. Because if you mess up in the air wing, if you're a mechanic, if you're some sort of anything with the air wing that has to do with mechanics or dealing with the aircrafts, that's people's lives at stake if you mess something up. My job, if I messed up, only I died as a combat engineer. BT, thank you so much for the donation. Thanks for doing these for those of us that are actually trying to move to Russia, even though you have to deal with all the haters. Yeah, man. This channel has put my life at risk. Also gets so much haters, but I feel like I've said it before. I like doing it because I don't think like a lot of other people. When I make these videos, I don't say the things that other people say. Excuse me. And I do it in a way that I think is very genuine. So I try my best to continue, and I wanted to do this live to get back so I don't get too rusty with these lives. Thanks for the donations, and I don't care about the haters. Dan, would be curious if you have a chance to talk to any Russian Afghans veterans. Yes, I've talked to Afghan veterans, and hopefully in the future I'll be making a video with Afghan veterans. Is there any fuel shortages? Not at all. Fuel shortage, impossible. Where I come from in Irkutsk Oblast, there's a lot of fuel, and even we ship oil and fuel and other gases to China and India from here and Mongolia. Because my wife needs time in the United States first for her passport. Yeah, exactly. Hey, lineman, good luck with that, okay, my friend? For the record, I'm not a hater. I'm just curious. Look, honestly, it's curiosity is great, and hate is also could be a source of motivation for me. Sometimes when some people hate, I say things that are educational. I'm sure you mentioned it before. How did you meet your wife? So when I met my wife, I was already traveling in Russia. She wasn't even the first girl that I met or that I spoke to. She's not the first Russian that I dated, but she was definitely the first Russian that spoke better English and was willing to help me. When I came to Russia, the sanctions had already taken away Airbnb. The sanctions had already were in the process of deleting the Visa Mastercards being able to use in Russia. So I went into a cafe and I met her in a cafe, just asking everyone for help. In 2022, no Russian wanted to help an American in Siberia. No Russian wanted to talk with me. No Russian wanted anything to do with me. And I told you guys that I was even assaulted by 3 Russians in 2022. I was just, yeah, it is what it is. 2022 is so different than now. No, I'm not nervous about. It's so weird, George. So your question is a little bit stupid. George, I'm not trying to offend you, and don't worry. I'm just very honest. I'm not trying to offend you, but it's a pretty stupid question because you would have to assume that every Russian citizen gets sent, right? So I think your questions are a little bit retarded. You have to think a little bit more before you ask. Maybe you should say, hey, do you want to join the military if you become a citizen? Do you want to serve? So think a little bit more, George, okay? I'm going to give you one last chance. Your questions are a little bit retarded. I don't know how old you are, but you have to think a little bit more. Hey, welcome. You just have to think a little bit more, George. Hey, you did change your name. That's funny. Cool, man. Welcome with the new name. I guess we're just gonna have to call you Ultra or Havoc. By the way, it's it's just how you guys, people who don't know about Russia, you guys sometimes ask the question that's strange, the weird ones. There you go. Misha is in the Russian military. He hasn't been sent to Ukraine. And also, you have to think not everybody who is in the military has the capabilities to go fight. Okay, so this is another topic that you guys have to understand also in the military. In the United States, not everybody who's in the military goes to war. It's the same in Russia, guys. Not every Russian soldier has a job that's going to send them to Ukraine. And I've lived in Russia for so long that I've seen veterans go to the war and come back. Also, I've met Russian military guys who have never gone to deployed, okay? It's the same in the United States, it's the same in every other country. Where did you get this Russian? This my wife buys me these. My wife buys me these, and I love him. I love him. Do you watch Patrick Lancaster? His video from the front are fascinating. That's absolutely true. Patrick Lancaster does have awesome videos. Yeah. Well, your question is, all right. We're just gonna put him on a timeout for like 30 minutes because your question, the problem was that your questions are a little bit backwards, George. If you want to know if I'm going to be sent to Ukraine, how the fuck would I know? I'm not the one who chooses which guys from the military. I'm not a general in the Russian military. Again, I think that what's in between your ears, so just think about it, George. I think that what's in between your ears in there is a little bit small because you're asking something that makes no sense. Yeah, so my wife gives me these shirts. Um and I love them. Okay, you want to know about the encounters I had with the Russian guys? Well, I'll tell you something. When I was here in 2022, I was actually assaulted and threatened for my life a couple times. But I think it's because back in the day, people were a little bit more anti-American. And of course, they had a right to be angry against Americans. But I'm just a citizen. You know, Russians are also a little bit backwards there. Russian people are just as bad as other people. We have the same type of people everywhere. So people in Russia were aggressive towards me for just existing with the wrong citizenship. This happens in every country, but it's okay. So I got attacked with three guys because I was speaking English while fishing. They found out that I was American and then they started to attack me. I fought them a little bit and then I decided, well, if I keep fighting them, I might have to unalive or I'm trained in those situations to go all the way. I don't see a fight as knocking someone out. I see a fight as one of us is going to go to the next world. So I had to run away because I saw that they were not going to fight until the end. And there's a lot of racism in Russia, yes, for sure. But it's in the opposite. There's more racism in Russia that I've ever met in the United States. And I'll give you an example, and this is going to blow your mind. It's not what you guys think. Russia is more racist than the United States in the following. So when I married my wife, and I'm not wearing my ring because I busted my knuckles, they're healing still. When my wife and I got married, the Russian people were so racist towards her, calling my wife a dog, a prostitute, a whore, for marrying someone who was not Slavic. So Russians are racist against Russians more than they were racist against me. And this is the problem that I have because if my wife is being called a whore, a prostitute, a dog, a traitor because she married a Mexican American, could you imagine how those people will treat my son? So Russians are the most racist people probably that I've ever met in my life. And it's the truth. And I've already said this. I've said this so many times. I don't have any bad feelings against Russians, but it makes me very sad that they're so backwards. Of course, Russians are not all racist. Nobody said Russians are all racist. Remember, I'm not saying they're all racist, but I am saying they are the most racist people I have ever met in my life. I have never met someone who would hate, and my wife actually, and I've told you guys this before too. My wife received death threats for about a year, on all social media, on Telegram, everywhere, that they were going to kill her for having married a non-Slavic Russian man. And listen, I think Russians are a little bit confused because in Russia, there's so many groups. It's not only Slavic people. Many Russians marry people from Yakutsk people, Buryatia, Tartar people, right? So there's so many groups inside of Russia, and they marry each other. But the Russians are the most racist people I've ever met. Yeah, yeah, for sure, 100%. I have never I mean, the racism that my wife got was like from the 1940s America style. And in real life, it happened too, by the way. But I'm not going to get into it because it makes me angry, to be honest. Because Russian people will say, oh, but it's not all Russian people. But I know it's not all Russian people. But the mentality is still like 1940s. If if you speak, if I were to go out in town and speak English with my wife, multiple amount of people have attacked me in this town or instigated a fight. And when they find out we're married, it gets worse. But it is what it is. Yeah. I love Russia anyways. It's a very dark topic. Sorry about that. Are Mexicans in Mexico like that? No, not at all. So Mexicans in Mexico, when she was there, she had the best time of her life. Mexicans don't care where you're from. So our culture is the opposite of Russians, where you know how you we say like Russians don't smile and all that. Like Mexicans will try their best uh to be your friend, especially if you're not from there. I understand there's a war right now and Russians have to be on their toes, but it is what it is. But listen, we can change the topic now. It's if if I had to say, if I had to take back, um, if I had to take back one thing that I've done in Russia, is probably not learned enough Russian yet. That's my biggest regret, because if I spoke Russian, I would probably be in a better position than now. For sure, 100%. Because I'm tired of these little kids who are so racist. The kids grow up racist in small towns. The kids have been like, hey, suka amerikansky, bliat, like, get the fuck out of here. This is Russia. Speak Russian, bliat. Like, little kids. And my wife is right. Their parents are worse. So in small towns, it's crazy. No, man. It's about traditions and surviving. That's not what we're talking about. Slavic people marrying Slavic people is fine. No, they are not all like that, dude. They're not like all like that. Kids in Russia in small towns are the most uneducated kids I've ever met too. Like, you guys don't understand. It's so strange to me because I live in a small town. This doesn't happen in Moscow. Moscow kids and St. Petersburg kids are not hanging out in the streets saying like fuck you speak Russian. This is Russian, bitch. Like, this is not normal in Moscow or St. Petersburg. This is for smaller towns, okay, guys? Yeah. I feel like people don't believe this, but I don't know what town you guys live in. I live in deep Russia, deep Russia. And I'm the first foreigner that everyone's ever met here, okay? The first Western foreigner anyone's ever met here. And the amount of hate and uneducated people I've ever met is unbelievable. I live in the real rural Russia. Я живу в Иркутске. Да, я знаю это Иркутск. Хорошо. You're my neighbor. Um, I wish more foreigners came here as tourists to see. If I don't speak at all, people won't think I'm a foreigner. No, people think I'm from Russia. They think like I'm some sort of Central Asian. Yes, we do have a lot of Asian looking people here because we're right next to Buryatia. So I live right next to Buryatia, and here we have a lot of people that are looking like Mongolians. It's crazy, you know. I never, the reason why I get angry is because my son will be born and he will have Mexican and Russian blood. If my son experiences any sort of racism, I'll just leave. I don't, you know, like, I can't fix this town. I would just leave Russia because I've already told you guys, I don't need to be in a place where I don't like it. I don't need my son to experience anything bad here. And the amount of ignorance in this town is unbelievable. I want to help educate this town, but it's crazy. It's too much. No, actually, I think they don't learn with age. Um, they're habitual racists. I think like it's the same in America. When you're raised by a racist, you turn out to be a racist. Believe me, there's some places in the United States I couldn't walk as a Mexican American. It's the same in the United States. There's the same type of kids in the United States, and I'm the only one saying that Russia's very bad in small towns. It doesn't happen to me in Irkutsk. In Irkutsk, it's different. Здравствуйте, откуда ты? Я из Los Angeles. And they'll be like, Los Angeles, oh, красавчик. In Irkutsk, it's different. But I'm telling you guys, in a small town, it's much different. And of course, I will raise my kid to be very tough and to fight these kids and fight these people because I don't think my kid's gonna get bullied. It is what it is. But again, in the city, 2 hours away, I'm loved by all people. Irkutsk is awesome. Ya Lublu. Irkutsk is the best city in Russia, in my opinion. It's where I first moved. It's so cool. But yeah, let's move away from that topic. And I have a few more minutes before I go out and record this video for you guys. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this live. Sorry that we spent like an hour on racism. By the way, guys, if you haven't put like, please put like. We are almost to 100 likes, almost to half a 100 likes. Remember, when you guys like it and you engage in this, it helps the channel grow. More people find the channel. And yeah, my son, I'm going to put him in Sambo, combat Sambo with time. Yeah. Yeah, maybe I will move to Mexico. I told you guys, if I don't like Russia in time, I will just go to Mexico. I have a beautiful wife. I don't want my kids to grow in a place where they're not going to be equal citizens. I already grew up. I was born in the United States, but I was treated like a second class citizen. Can you imagine? I grew up in the United States after being born in the United States as a second class citizen. I would hate if my son is born in Russia and is also treated like a second class citizen. I already know he's going to be a second class citizen in a way because in Russia, if you have two citizenships, you're not allowed to have certain jobs in Russia. So my son already is going to be at a disadvantage. I don't know if Mexico doesn't do that. Mexico, if you're born in Russia but Mexican citizen, you can have a job as a cop, you can have government jobs, but in Russia, for some reason, you can't. But it's okay. Yeah, my son will speak Russian first. My son will be in Russian schools. My son will live in Russia. He's gonna be a Russian. I think it's safer for him to be in Mexico than probably Los Angeles for sure, but I think it's the same. Russia in a small town is as safe as Mexico. Mexico is actually very safe. If you're not near the border cities, it's absolutely safe. Yeah, California is not safe, but Mexico's safe in away from the cities. Yeah, I don't know, man. The CDL, the driving license. Well, some of the best drivers in the world are actually Russian and Ukrainian. Russian and Ukrainian truck drivers are absolutely one of the best, some of the best, rather. I know a lot of Ukrainians in Russia who are Russian Ukrainians who drive semi trucks, and Russians are absolutely great semi truck drivers. So, yeah, the commercial driving license, exactly. Yeah, man, I don't know. I don't think that it should be a law. I think life is life, and what happened in with that guy is unfortunate, but a lot of American born drivers drive drunk, a lot of them drive tired, and they cause accidents too. I would love to visit. I would love to visit the northern parts of Irkutsk. In Irkutsk Oblast, you can see the northern lights. I want to visit the northern part of Irkutsk. One second. Yeah, I want to go to the top of Irkutsk. I want to see the northern lights. They come out green and red. It's beautiful. I've already been to the Urals. Alfredo dice, hola, que tu hijo aprenda ruso primero. Claro, my son will first learn Russian. That'll be his first language. My son's language of mother tongue will be Russian 100%. But yeah, I love Irkutsk Oblast. To me, Irkutsk is a magical place. Do you have any animals? I have one cat. I adopted a street cat. His name is Jerry Segundo. He lives on our plot, and I think he's still alive because I'm still feeding him and he's still eating. I don't own any animals like I have a wild cat that I feed. Yes, I'm still in contact with the Real Reporter. The Real Reporter is on X and on Telegram. If you want to find him, just look up Real Reporter on Telegram and you'll be able to find him. Kamchatka, it's close, but it costs so much money. Right now, guys, in the last 3 years, flying inside of Russia is so expensive. It's crazy. It's so crazy, guys. Tickets have gone up almost 50% in price. So if you paid $100 to go anywhere, it's like almost it's like $150. It's almost more than that now. Traveling in Russia is so expensive right now for some reason. Maybe some people from the chat are from Russia, they can agree with me. Traveling in Russia, the airplanes, the trains have gone up so much. They've gone up so much, guys. It's crazy. It used to cost me like maybe like 10,000 rubles to go to Mongolia. Now it's anywhere up to like 13 to 14,000. It was like 9,000 something. Now it's almost 14,000 rubles. It's crazy. The prices for traveling in Russia have gone up significantly and just randomly spiked up. I can't have chickens. We have too many eagles and too many fox. There's too many wild animals here right now. I don't have I don't have the money to build the appropriate buildings for the chickens. Yeah, Misha knows the prices have gone crazy, man. You know, and a lot of people don't talk about this, but the price of food in Russia actually this year it went up more than any other year. This is the first year where I noticed the prices when I go to the store for two people, just for two people, we spend more than 2,000 rubles at the store. On average, 2 years ago, we used to spend $13, around 1,300 rubles. Now we're spending 2,500 rubles. Something's definitely changing. Yeah. Yeah, the sanctions, I don't think it's the sanctions. I just think Russia is there's like a little bit of inflation in Russia by itself. Russia has enough of everything, and the countries like Kazakhstan, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, Turkmenistan, all of these countries, even Azerbaijan, they feed Russia. Okay, a lot of the fruits and food that we get comes from those countries, so they don't sanction Russia. What the fuck? The sanctions didn't do anything. The prices are going up because of something happening in Russia. This has nothing to do with sanctions. Russia is very good and healthy by itself. China, India, Kyrgyzstan, all these other Central Asian countries have fed Russia during the sanctions. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Hopefully, it kind of settles down, but things are getting pretty expensive. I'm gonna be leaving in about. Sushi, are you washing your hair? Are you ready? Okay, can you get dressed? Okay. My wife is getting ready. We're gonna go film a video for you guys today. Dobre utra, amigo. Alex. Dobre utra, brat. Um, I think I'm not underestimating them. I just don't overestimate them because, for instance, where I live, the sanctions are much different because where I live, we don't get anything from Moscow, anything from St. Petersburg. What we get in Siberia comes from other places. So Russia is so big that depending on where you live in Russia, if you're in Khabarovsk, you're right next to China. You know, you can trade with the Chinese or bringing things in. So you have to understand, depending where you live in Russia, sanctions are different. I don't underestimate them. I just don't overestimate them because I live in such a unique place. I live next to Mongolia. Irkutsk Oblast trades a lot of oil, coal, natural rocks with Mongolia and China through the Trans-Siberian Asian connection. So you have to understand. I know what the sanctions have done, but I also understand that the sanctions are different for someone in Moscow. They don't have a lot of BMWs. Hello, my friend. Welcome. They don't have a lot of European things. IKEA left Moscow. Wow. What we live here is much different than the western part of Russia. So I think the biggest thing is probably something happening inside. Hello, greetings from the United States. So, when I was in the Marine Corps, I used to get discriminated when I had to be stationed in North Carolina. When I was in different states in the United States, I was just always made fun of. I was made fun of for my accent. Like a lot of Americans all over the United States who are not from Southern California would, when I traveled to other states, would shit talk me about my accent. Even now, I still get kind of bullied for having an accent. It's just how I talk. So It is what it is. Yeah, the city people, the BMW shortages or the up price of BMWs. I've been discriminated as a Russian when I moved to the United States as well. Yeah, and it's gonna happen for sure. I think that the United States suffers from like recency bias. They will hate whatever country they hate at the time, like Russia, because it's in a conflict right now with Ukraine. They will treat Russians like they treated the Germans, every German. You know, during the Second World War, the Japanese were sent to concentration camps, and that's what they were called, concentration camps. They took the Japanese away from the Pacific coast and they moved them to concentration camps. So the United States uses a scapegoat, and Russians have been the scapegoat for quite a few decades now, even after the fall of the Soviet Union. Yep. By the way, I have a question. Um, I feel like because when my son is born, I might do this is Sunday morning for me. It's Saturday afternoon for you Westerners perhaps. So listen, I'm thinking because my son is going to be born soon and I need to keep making content. Saturday more evenings for you, Saturday evenings, but Sunday mornings for me, I might do like a show every Sunday where I wake up and we look at news from military news, geopolitical news, news about immigration, and these type of things. So yeah, crying like a baby. What a weirdo. Imagine that. The guy with the last name Lopez, probably a no sabo kid, Latinx. Yeah, dude, I'm 35 years old. I grew up in a different United States than you probably. So yeah, I think every Sunday, but it's gonna be vertical. I mean horizontal. It's gonna be every Sunday morning. I'm gonna do horizontal on my Streamlabs where I can pop up articles and we can talk about that. Geopolitical news. There's a lot of mappers that I watch, and actually, the conflict in Ukraine does affect me directly because I want the conflict to end. So, keeping up with that, I'm gonna every Sunday gonna be doing my own analysis of what I think is going on. And I think I'll break it down into segments. We'll do 20 minutes geopolitics, 20 minutes the conflict in Ukraine, and the rest of the show will be for questions and for thoughts that I have. I already have the name for my son. Haven't been on DPA Live because of the times that they do them. It's very difficult for me to join them. I grew up in the Valley. Yeah, I grew up in the San Fernando Valley, but I was in Northern California for a long time. And in Northern California in the 90s, like in Watsonville, there was a lot of Hells Angels. There was a lot of Nazis, like KKK Nazis, in the early to mid 90s. In the Northern California was crazy, man. I was up there in Northern California too. But I mean, I'm not complaining about it. It's how I grew up, and I like that kind of stuff. I survived. Yeah, so I think every Sunday now that's gonna be the new normal. Yeah, there's so many Chinese people this year is crazy. The linguistic schools in Irkutsk city has so many Chinese people. It's crazy. I'm telling you guys, it's crazy. Yeah, because also there's a lot of lack of information about the conflict. Like there's so many theories because the Real Reporter channel got deleted. A lot of my military analysis have been deleted, and some of my military analysis had 500,000 views. Like my military analysis had millions of views accumulated on the Real Reporter channel, and it's pretty sad how all of that just disappeared. A lot of Kazakhs in Los Angeles recently. Interesting. Let me know when you're ready, Sush. Happy Sunday. Blessing to you and the family. Thank you so much, my friend. I'm not gonna be like pushing the boundaries. I'm just gonna give my opinion on certain things. Like, I think my military analysis is different than all these other guys. For instance, one of the guys that I don't understand how he's even on YouTube giving military analysis is Scott Ritter. Scott Ritter has never in combat. Scott Ritter never led men in combat. Scott Ritter never had to lead men in major operations, and yet his word about the Ukraine conflict is so sought after for some reason when he has no experience. And he's been saying that the Ukrainians have been done for the past 3 years. Scott Ritter has no idea what he's talking about. So to me, it's so awkward, especially because he's like a Marine. He was like a soldier who became a Marine, which I'm embarrassed about. But like, yeah, there's a lot of these guys who do military analysis who are not combat decorated. Let me tell you the difference between there's levels to being combat decorated and just being a fucking officer in the United States. It means nothing. Okay? So if you've been to combat, you would understand, even in the Ukraine war, if they were to put me in a situation, small infantry units is what I led. Okay, in open fields and in semi-urban warfare, in trench warfare, that's what I fought in Afghanistan. So when Scott Ritter and these other guys are talking about the war, I'm like, what the hell are they talking about? What are they talking about? It's crazy. You would have to have been in urban warfare, trench warfare, or open field warfare to have any clue what the conflict in Ukraine is. The drones are not a. I'm gonna just give you one example. I saw an interview where Scott Ritter said that drones were the biggest game changer, which, in my opinion, it's a type of fucking drone that is a game changer, because drones that just drop munitions is nothing new, okay? But these FPBs and the types of drones, let me see 1 second. Anyways, so I was watching this interview, and one thing that really blew my mind, and I would expect it from someone who doesn't know combat. So the drones, all right, the cartels in Mexico have been dropping grenades from drones since it was too cool, right? What changed the battlefield is the fiber optic ones, the one that don't need a fucking signal. And it's the same in Afghanistan. IEDs were used in Afghanistan, and then they started using fiber rods that conducted electricity differently, so you couldn't detect them with the metal detector. That is the game changer type of IED. Drones themselves are not game changers. And that's something that really bothers me, is when these military analysis people are talking about, oh, this is a modern war because of the drones. No, it is not. Because if the war had been non-static, if the Russians, if the Ukrainians didn't decide to dig trenches and sit in the drones the entire time, instead of going on offensives more often, you would see a different war. Okay, what we're seeing right now is a static war from the beginning from the Ukrainian side, which gave the power to the drones, because artillery does way more damage than a fucking drone. A drone, you need an operator to be close enough, right? Artillery is still the king of this conflict. Whatever, it doesn't matter what anybody says. Artillery is still the king of the battlefield. When you have drones, you still need to get close enough to operate these drones. Not even the fiber optics go as far as a shell of an artillery round. What's the difference is that the Ukrainians decided to dig trenches in 2025. 2025 trenches made the possibility for drones to be this effective, okay? You guys have to understand, when you watch these channels, if they ever talk about how amazing drones are, no, motherfucker. The reason why drones are effective is because somebody decided to dig a trench in 2025. Now, in World War II, when there was massive artillery bombardments, the trenches were built better in World War II. You see the trenches that are being dug by the Russians and the Ukrainians right now, and they're absolutely obsolete. They don't take into account the bombardment of a possibility by artillery and the drones. For some reason, they're building trenches, even though they're fortifications that are going to be forever. They're building them very badly. If you watch these videos, they have no booby traps in these trenches. They have no secondary or third positional trenches. The Russians did it. They built like 3 lines of trenches. The Ukrainians somehow are not doing it. So anyways. Oh, come say hi then. Anyways, yeah, my wife is going to come say hi, and then we're going to get on our way. I can go on forever with this. The biggest problem is the both sides started digging trenches the way they did. Yeah, man, but to operate drones, you still need, I mean, there's still, what is this damn thing called? These UAVs, right? These UAVs that these countries have, those were drones too that were used previously to these inexpensive drones. The amount of inexpensive drones that are being used, that's what's making the difference. But again, you still need to get close. Oh, you're wearing a dress, Sushi? Check this out, guys.
Hi.
This is the wife. Holy moly.
I'm really big now.
So maybe on my next video where I do next Sunday, I can give examples of what's better, how to better a trench, because it shouldn't even be in question. Show the side profile one more time. Look at that. Thank you so much. So the sushi is ready. Thanks, guys, for the donations. Thanks for all of the support we get on this channel. Thanks for the memberships gifts. We're going to be going to record now. I'm going to be making a full-length video. Please tune in. Maybe tomorrow I'll do a practice video for the news. So tomorrow I'll do a horizontal video for the news and all that stuff. Bye, guys. Thanks again for everything.